Welcome to Asbury United Methodist Church. My name is Peter, and today we are going to hear a parable. This is a parable, but it is not a parable of Jesus. We keep those parables in gold boxes. This parable is in a plain wooden box. Now, many of you have asked what a parable really is. This is a parable about that and so much more. Now, we need to remember that a parable is a very short story. It's not a long story. It doesn't go on and on and on and on. It is very short. And also in a parable, many times the things that are mentioned might not really be the things that you see or hear. And that is why coming to a parable, we keep coming back to them. Because at one time you might hear something and you might see something. And then a few years later, you hear the parable again. But you have grown and you have more experiences. And you might say, wait a second, this is speaking to me in a whole new way. And that's the purpose of a parable, to keep us growing, to keep us exploring, to keep us learning. And today's parable is called The Deep Well. So, let's hear the parable. I wonder what this could be. It is brown. In fact, it is very brown. It has no real shape. There's no blue. There's no green at all. Just pure brown. Let's lay it out. Let's see if there is anything else in here that can get us ready. This is different. I wonder what this could be. Is there anything else? Oh, look, a big cup. Maybe it's a cup. Not quite sure. I'll just toss it there. Anything else? Gold threads. In fact, there's lots of gold threads. We'll scatter them around. Like I said, there's lots of them. There's nothing else. The box is empty. So let's get ready to hear the parable of the deep well. There was once a great desert. And in the middle of the desert was a deep well. It was so deep that people could no longer reach the water to drink it. In fact, people forgot there was water in the well at all, because they could not even see the water in the well because it was so deep down. But sometimes you could feel the damp coolness rising from the well. and it felt good on your face. But there was no way to get to the refreshing water from its deep depths. Now, people in the desert cannot live without water. And it is so hot, and it is very easy to get lost in the desert. The wind changes the shape of the sand, and there is nothing green to give shade, and nothing for people to eat. So everyone hurries across the desert as fast as they can to get away from the danger. Now, one day, a person was crossing the desert. And when the person came to the well, the person took their time. For some reason, the person was not in a hurry. They took their time and looked all around the well. The person looked at the well and the little strands that were around the well in the desert. The person picked up an object, but no one could remember what it was for. It was like a big cup that you could carry water in, but where would a person get any water to put in it? The person looked again and walked around the well and kicked some of the golden strands. They seemed so out of place. What were the golden strands for? Other people thought he was silly to be there walking around the well, and they went on their way. But this person took his time to really be there and to look. The person went back to the big cup with the handle, and then to the deep well. Then the person began to walk around, picking up the golden threads. And he decided to tie them together. And then he thought, let's tie the golden threads together to the big cup. And the person lowered the big cup or bucket into the well. And then he pulled the bucket out. And the person tasted the water from the deep well and was changed. Here, you can also taste the water from the deep well. Then the person went on his way. The bucket and the many strands tied together were left, so that the next person could also taste the water from the deep well. Now I wonder what the water from the well could really be. I wonder where the desert could really be. I wonder if you have ever had to cross a desert. I wonder what the deep well could really be. I wonder if you have ever come close to the golden threads. I wonder what the golden threads could really be. I wonder why this person stopped in the first place and wondered. I wonder how to wonder. I wonder why. Now, let's change the ending to the story some. Instead of the person leaving everything here, all ready for the next person, let's change it. For after the person drank from the well, he decided to undo the golden strands. And he tossed them around the well, and he untied the bucket also. And left the bucket by the well. And then he went on his way, so that the next person could figure out what to do also. Now I wonder, which one of the endings you like best? Leaving everything nice and neat, tied together, or undoing everything? I wonder which ending is the most important. I wonder what part of the parable is especially about you. I wonder if there is any part of this parable we could leave out and still have the meaning of the parable. Now remember, we said that a parable is a short story, and that many times things, desert, well, bucket, golden strands, aren't what they seem to be. And that is why we keep coming back to hear a parable. Now, the parable of the deep well is from Godly Play. And as we said, the parable is not a parable of Jesus, and that is why it was in a plain wooden box. But the parable also had a story and a meaning to let us learn and experience new things. We are going to hear a story about Jesus and a well. It's not a parable, but it relates very well to the story of the deep well. And this is from the Spark Bible. The woman at the well. Tired from walking a long way, Jesus rested at a well in a place called Samaria. His disciples went to get food while he rested. The sun was high in the sky. Phew! Jesus was hot. His tongue was as dry as a wad of sheep's wool, and he was very thirsty. A Samaritan woman came to the well to get water. "Will you give me a drink?" Jesus asked. She gave him a puzzled look, because Jesus was a Jew, and she knew that most Jews did not like people from Samaria. "Why are you asking me for a drink?" she asked. "If you knew who I was," Jesus answered, "you would ask me for living water." Now the woman was really puzzled. "Sir," she said, as she pointed to the well, "the well is deep, and you don't have a jar. Where will you get this living water?" Jesus smiled. "Everyone who drinks from this well will be thirsty again, but the water I bring lasts forever." What the woman did not understand was that Jesus wasn't talking about the water you drink. He was talking about living water, love that forgives and life that lives forever with God. As Jesus explained more, the woman became more and more interested. She wanted to hear more. So Jesus told her more, lots more. Jesus knew all about her, about where she came from and what she believed. As they talked, the woman's eyes began to twinkle. I know the Messiah is coming, she said. I have heard all about him. Jesus smiled and put his hand on the woman's shoulder. I am the Messiah, he said gently. The woman was so surprised she nearly spilled her water jar. As the disciples came back with food, the woman rushed past them. She was so excited to tell everyone about what Jesus had said. The woman ran all over town telling people about what she had seen and what she had heard. There's a man at the well who says he's the Messiah. He has amazing things to say. Come and see for yourself, she said. The people came running to Jesus. Many people believed in Jesus because of what he told them that day. Water, well, what does it mean? Ponder, think. Has God given you water this week? Has God shown you a deep well? Where has God been with you? And until we meet again, may the peace of God be with you, now and always. Amen.